My girlfriend, 27, of 4 years, told me, 29 male, yesterday that she cheated on me 3 months ago with a colleague from work. Allegedly, it was a one-time thing. She claimed that the guilt was eating her up inside and that she couldn't live with the dishonesty anymore, which is why she confessed. I never suspected a thing. I trusted her completely, and I believed we had a strong relationship. Until yesterday. I'm in shock. I've loved her deeply, and I was genuinely planning a future with her. We've been living together for the past year. On top of that, my family is expecting an engagement soon, so this has blindsided me on all fronts. She says she's cut off all ties with this colleague and insists that she wants to be with me. But right now, I can barely process what she's telling me, let alone make sense of how I feel. I haven't spoken to her since her confession. I'm too angry, too hurt. Cheating has always been a deal breaker for me, and I never imagined I'd be in this position. I know I have to face her eventually, given our living situation and all the practicalities of the lease, but the idea of talking to her feels unbearable. I don't even want to see her. We're stuck living together until at least January when our lease ends, which makes things even more complicated. I've been staying with a friend for now. I don't know what the best way to end things is. Part of me wants to just pack up and leave, but that feels like running away. Another part of me wonders if I should at least try to have one final conversation with her, if only for some closure, so that I'll never have doubts or question afterwards. But then I think about the betrayal and feel like there's no point. I'm also unsure about whether to tell my family and close friends about what happened. I know I'll need their support, but I also feel embarrassed and emasculated by what she did. For those who've been through this, what helped you move forward? What's the most respectful way to end a relationship in this kind of situation? Should I tell people the real reason for our breakup or just keep it private? Update. I ended things with my girlfriend. We finally had the conversation I'd been dreading, but it was necessary. When we talked, she cried and kept apologizing and said she wanted to work things out and that I owed her a chance to redeem herself. I made it clear that I was breaking the lease and moving out, no matter what. And no, she won't get any chances. It's not a thing. I guess it sort of broke her. She admitted that it wasn't a one-time thing like she'd originally said. It had actually gone on for about a month, and they hooked up multiple times. I don't know why I was shocked, but I was. I think I'd been trying to hold on to the idea that maybe it was really a drunken mistake. Hearing the truth made me feel so relieved that I decided to leave. It's super tough, but I'm glad I ended it. I've told a few close friends, and they've been supportive, which has helped. I'm planning on telling our family soon. I'm dreading their reactions the most. I still have a lot of mixed emotions, but at least I have clarity now. I'm working on sorting out the logistics of moving out and starting fresh. I just wanted to thank everyone here who offered advice. Story 2. Lost. I'm in the worst pain of my life, and I'm tired of suffering. I'm here in search of perspective. I've been with my wife for 12 years. 9 days ago, I uncovered her affair that she's been hiding for the past year and a half. Over the course of our conversations, this is the gist of it. Their affair was primarily emotional and inappropriate sexting over messaging apps. They slept together once at the beginning and carried on in secret afterwards. All involved are military members assigned to different embassies, so I can personally verify that they've been in separate hemispheres since the initial encounter. They met during a training class in Washington, D.C., and then were sent to different countries afterwards and continued the relationship online for the remainder of the time. D-Day came about when one morning I was scrolling through our shared photos and noticed a series of 7 of them that I'd never seen before. I looked at the info of the pics, and they were all taken back-to-back 2 weeks prior, late at night. They were all the same pose, slightly different, trying to get the shot just right. I'd never seen them. I got the terrible intuitive feeling in the gut that she was sexting someone. I confronted her, which in retrospect I regret because perhaps I would have been able to uncover more had she not known I was suspicious, and asked her straight out if she was sexting someone. She denied it and claimed that she was reading a book about sexuality and was trying to become more sexual for me. I felt guilty. I'm not going to sugarcoat our relationship. We've been strained. as I think many military marriages with young children are. Multiple moves, deployments, lost friends, etc. We were working through different aspects. She and I had been emotionally disconnected to an extent for a number of years, and that portion of it was my fault. I wasn't coping with things, and I failed to validate her feelings at times that she really needed it. This does not justify what she did by any stretch of the imagination. However, I do feel it's important to stress for context that I had contributed to an environment where our marriage might have been vulnerable. Something just didn't seem right. She doesn't have a good poker face, so I peeked her social media passwords and logged in when she left the house. They mainly talked via WhatsApp, and when she saw my suspicion, she purged all those messages. I guess because of how she feels for this other man, she couldn't bring herself to part with a few of her favorites. She forwarded them in a message thread to herself that she normally just uses as her to-do list and reminders. There was a video message from him to her among them. I went from not knowing this person existed to hearing in his own graphic terms the exact nature of their physical and emotional connection in 19 seconds. I dissociated and spent the next 15 minutes holding handfuls of ice cubes at the sink to keep myself centered. She came home, could see I was visibly distraught, and asked what was going on. We gave the kids tablets and sat by the laptop. I told her it was paramount that we have 100% honesty from this point forward because this was going to be super difficult. I told her what I suspected, and she denied. I played the video to her face. She downplayed it as old flirting and lied. I played another video message I'd found, and she got angry that I went through her media. I played his voice messages and some screenshots I found asking for more pictures, and she admitted that it was inappropriate sexting. I played the most sexually explicit one I'd found, and she finally admitted everything after having lied repeatedly. Okay, let me backtrack. I was not in a good place, and with each successive lie, I became angry and coercive, which I regret. I did not cuss or call names or yell, but I did threaten her career and his career and threatened to tell her family. I threatened to leave. I threatened divorce. I didn't make it very easy for her to tell the truth, putting her on the spot and shaming her. Fast forward 9 days of not eating or sleeping, and here we are. We have our first scheduled session with a couples therapist today, and I'm terrified. I was on the Surviving Infidelity sub yesterday for most of the afternoon and got a healthy dose of one perspective. If I could sum it all up, I'm an idiot. I need to lawyer up and burn everything down. I'm not gonna lie. Divorce is still on the table, but I want it to be the absolute last resort. This is where I'm struggling though. I know that she still loves this dude. I know that she lied to protect him. I know we weren't doing well beforehand, and I can't help the feeling that she wouldn't even be trying had she not been caught. I'm desperately trying to make sense of it. I even posted in the swingers sub because I was grasping at ways to make her stay with me, even if it meant opening our marriage. Their relationship was largely communication and not physical, so I thought if I allowed it to continue, possibly it would just run its course. I realize now that this is not right, and adjusting boundaries so that what she did can be accepted is not the way. In the days after I mentioned it, my self-esteem went from 0 to negative 100. On one hand, I have 11 years of good history with this woman who has carried me through the highest and lowest parts of my life. We have 2 children together, and the thought of losing her even now makes me incredibly sad. She's human, and she made a mistake. On the other hand, I don't know how I can ever trust what she says again, even when she's telling me she cares for me and wants to make it work. So I feel stuck between a cursed relationship or going through a horrible divorce and changing my young children's lives forever. If anyone has learned to rebuild trust through pain, please help. Man, given the severity of the situation, her ongoing emotional attachment to this other person, the lies, and the impact of your well-being, I strongly encourage you to prioritize your own mental health and consider separating, at least temporarily. This will give you space to process your emotions and evaluate what's truly best for you and your children. You mentioned that you suspect she still loves this other man and that her attempts to reconcile may stem more from being caught than from genuine remorse. If that's the case, it's essential to consider whether she can truly commit to rebuilding the relationship and if she's willing to put in the necessary work to regain your trust. Consider speaking with the therapist individually as well. They can provide you with guidance on how to navigate this painful situation, help you establish boundaries, and work through the feelings of anger, sadness, and betrayal. If your wife is genuinely committed to working on the relationship, she must demonstrate this through consistent actions, not just words. If she cannot commit to this, it may be time to consider whether it's healthier for you to part ways. Leaving a relationship where you feel insecure, untrusted, and undervalued can be a difficult but necessary step toward healing and rediscovering your self-worth. Take the time to reflect on what you truly want and need. And remember that your happiness matters.